They called you strong, and you've always been. But in that strength, having it all the time became exhausting. What if, just what if, letting somebody hear you was the bravest, strongest thing you've ever done? Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 39 books and counting. I've had the wonderful privilege of working with nearly 5,000 people, helping them write, publish, market their books to bestseller, and everything that goes beyond that. And what I'm really here to do is to help you find that powerful clarity, to live in, to know, to be, and to really embrace the powerful clarity that comes from knowing who you are and then sharing that out with the world to be the best version of you that you can be in this day that we like to know as today. So even as I invite a couple of people here to come and join us or to know that we're doing what we're doing here, I just really want you to take a look at yourself. I want you to see how incredibly cool you are. I want you to celebrate you because you deserve it. You are totally worth it. And I want you to know that, embrace that, and feel it. I want you to hear first and foremost today, as I say this, and I want you to hear it really clearly. Okay, so now that I've got people invited, I really want to hone in and let you really see this, okay? You are strong. You are powerful. You are amazing. In fact, you probably feel like when I talk about being vulnerable and valuable, you probably have kind of a guttural reaction to it. And you're like, I'm too strong to need to be vulnerable. I've come through too much to let vulnerability be that Achilles heel that so many people I know and I don't respect have. And I'm not asking you to betray yourself, but I want you to see where strength really lies. And strength doesn't lie in shrinking away from, in hiding from, in staying away from. Real strength shows up when you show up, when you are the person that only you can be, when you do the things that only you can do, and when you really truly embrace that real strength comes when we take action, when we take massive radical action and we do the thing. We do it in spite of and along with all the other stuff that is absolutely true and real in our life. Because I know and I absolutely understand and see that strength in you. So don't feel discounted at all by that. But I also know that you're exhausted. You've been carrying all of it, so much of it, so much stuff for so long. And life has just worn you down. You can look back to a year ago, 5 years ago, whatever. And you say to yourself, where is that person? Where is that powerful young adult, that really amazing titan of industry, that whoever, however you determined yourself, why don't I feel that way anymore? Why do I feel a little bit less than? Because I'm strong, I'm powerful, I've got this. I've made it through so much. So why don't I feel like celebrating me? And I want you to take a second. And I want you to see and feel and give yourself credit for all that strength. But then I want you to also understand all of the carrying the weight on your shoulders has worn you out, frazzled you to the bone, caused you to go from building muscle to actually tearing apart the muscle. And you need recovery time. You need assistance. Being vulnerable is not a weakness. Getting help is not any diminishment to your strength. And I don't think diminishment is actually a word, but I made it up, and so now it is. We are simply talking about you not needing to carry it alone anymore. Because, as I said before, being that strong, that powerful, showing up that much, doing the things that you've been doing so wonderfully well is exhausting. I used it right, even though it may not be a word. Good, I'm glad. I mean, I see you. I really do. And I know that inside of you, you know you're not operating at 100%. You know what it feels like when you're hitting on all cylinders and you're at 100% and you've got all the go-go juice and you're just getting it done. And I know you're not at that point because you've done so much. And you need to applaud yourself for that. Absolutely you do. You deserve every kudo, especially the ones that you haven't gotten. But I also see the other side of the equation. I see that now you're operating at 80%, or maybe even you're down all the way to 10 or 20% of what you could be if you just felt the strength that you know is inside of you, but now all of a sudden seems impossible to really reach for, to really bring up out of you. So you still do your best, you still do amazing. And everybody around you is applauding and they're cheering and they're telling you how wonderful you are, how strong you are, how great you are. Oh, the amazing stuff that you're doing. And rather than allowing that to encourage you and be like, wow, I'm really doing some great stuff, what you really walk away from that conversation is thinking all the things that they don't know that makes every compliment that you get a little bit or a whole lot less than, and something that you aren't really able to or even willing to internalize. Because if they only knew who you could be versus how you are capable of being, they would deem you to be the failure that you've deemed yourself to be, which is never and still is not true. Never has been, and it never will be. So what's the solution? Do we just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and hammer our way through it? And eventually we reach this amazing Shangri-La promised land where all of a sudden all the burdens are lifted and everything's good. And there's so much money dumping on top of us that, we just can solve everything. Would that were true. It's not. Because what happens when you do have a windfall of money, you can't really enjoy it because you don't have the help and support and the systems built in yourself to be able to, like, for example, let your crew do the work while you go take a couple of weeks of really well-earned vacation. Ooh. Should we dive into that one for a second? When was the last time you took a vacation? All 10 fingers pointing at me. What is vacation? What is day off? Enjoyment is a heart condition, regardless of the circumstances. Absolutely, that's true. And if we put too much on us, our heart can never really truly be free. We buy into the strength that we absolutely do have and have used. And they begin to become those weights on our heart condition. What if you were to set down those things that are just too heavy? What if you were to get help carrying those things? What if you allowed yourself to be seen as human and not perfect? Ooh, that's a tough one. Some of us really struggle with that one, right? Anybody else in this camp with me? Because anything less than perfect meant total failure. And you've been surrounded by and had many people in your life that were just ready to pounce on every little tiny faux pas, let alone mistake or failure. You know, don't trip on the sidewalk, let alone absolutely just blow it, because that person or those people are just ready there to just pounce. And some of us even have people that are waiting in the wings with things that have nothing to do with us, or coming out of the blue at us and pouncing on us for things that have literally nothing to do with us. But they feel like they see an opening and a vulnerability, and they go all the way with it. And so we try so hard to hit absolute perfection. And we always judge ourselves because we never really quite reach it. And the other person who maybe isn't in our life anymore, and that nagging perfection they demanded of us, even though they didn't do it themselves, we've now taken on, and we continue that voice of theirs that is now removed from our life. And we keep speaking their words of lack and less than, and what a failure we are. And they beat us up. We continue to abuse ourselves with the words of that abuser long after they've moved on to a next victim. What a wonderful privilege they have to continue to get to abuse us without having to have to do anything. We manage to get out of their world, so they're not actually live in our presence anymore. But their words, their thoughts, their actions, their deeds are still determining our day-to-day. We need to let those things go. We need to understand our vulnerability is valuable. Our connection, where I was talking about clarity, consistency, connection, our connection starts with our willingness to be vulnerable. And it's terrifying. Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not trying to tell you something that I'm just like, oh, pish posh, it's easy. Just go be vulnerable and, it'll be no big deal. You fight yourself every time you scroll past the live stream that you did after oversleeping, right? Because, oh my goodness, you must be the worst person in the world if you happen to need sleep. What kind of awful individual sleeps past whatever, some arbitrary time that person has decided is the time you must be out of bed? Why? Because a rooster crowed? I don't know if you have any roosters that live near you, but now that we live, on my walk every day, one of the streets we go down, there is a rooster. And I swear to you, that rooster, he crows all frickin' day long. Okay? 8 o'clock at night, he's still going to be crowing just the same and exactly as he was. And somebody that's a rooster expert is going to come on and tell me, it's like, no, their 8 o'clock in the evening crow is different than their 8 o'clock in the morning crow. Whatever. He's squawking like a crazy person. Yes, there was a swear word that I was going to put in there. Over and over and over again, all frickin' day long. I'm so glad that I only can hear his crowing when we're on the walk, because if he was in my yard, he'd be rooster soup. I'm just saying, okay? Those are arbitrary, and yet that person has made us believe that, oh my gosh, and if you don't go to bed by a certain time, or if you get inspired on a project and you work until 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, all of these things make you a quote unquote bad person. It's time for us to not carry these things all alone anymore. Some of them, I'm not naive enough to tell you, hey, just let it go. Hey, just tell that voice in your head. And I mean, how many of us have heard these whatever coaches, I'll call them. I'm not demeaning coaches, so if that's the wrong word, therapists, whatever, that are just like, that's just none of yours, and so you should just let it go. I remember way back, I was in junior high or high school, and a therapist, with some of the issues that my parents were having, a therapist told me, that's none of your responsibility, and that's not within your purview, and you need to just release that and let it go. Those aren't his exact words, but that was the essence of the 15-minute soliloquy he gave me. Told him he was full of crap. I said, when somebody is yelling at another person and you're down the hall from that screaming and it's 2:00 in the morning, it absolutely is part of it is yours. He's like, well, I don't know, but you need to just remove yourself from the situation. I'm like, okay, great. I'm 15 years old. Let me just move out. I'll go live in the street. Have no job, have no car, but fine. Wonderful advice. Thanks. Yeah, they definitely don't just crow at dawn. Their opinion is none of your business. Yeah, you could say a lot more about that, Patricia. And yet their opinion has such an impact on us, doesn't it? So what we need is help in carrying this stuff. It's not that you're not just as strong as you were. You're not like some dude that's struggling. I saw a video of a guy, so I'm still thinking of, the dude that was struggling to do just the smallest bench press I think I've ever seen any human do. Couldn't do it without help lifting the bar. It's not like that. You've got the literal weight of the world on your shoulders. You're like, get out of the way, Atlas. I've got this. And you just carry it, you're just like, Atlas took a vacation because I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. I got this. And you're that cool, and you do. But it does weigh on you after a while, doesn't it? And now's the time where we're too tired to want to carry it at all anymore, but we still keep doing it because we don't have another gear where we can just lay it down. So I'm not even asking you to lay it down. I'm just asking, could I give you a hand? Could we put a shoulder underneath the whole entire world with you? Could we hold you while you hold the world? Could we allow you to keep the weight of the world on your back, but prepare a really nice bed for you so you could get some rest while you're carrying the weight of everything? And how can we make that happen? And here's the shocking part of all of it. The part that is completely counterintuitive. And I'm telling you this because I know that as soon as I say this, you're going to be like, that is not true at all. Okay? But the truth is, the way to start releasing the weight of that and allowing others, the right others, to help you not be any less strong than you are, not carry all the things that you're carrying, but just help you with it. Just let you be able to move back up from that 20, 30, 50, 80% of you back up to the 100% of you out in the world. The way that happens is you open your mouth and you speak. As we talk, as we share, as we give, we invite in, we make ourselves. That's the kind of vulnerability that I'm talking about. We look around the room and we see, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by a room full of people that are all going through the same thing that I am. And I didn't know it because I was head down, chugging my way through. And when I looked up, I realized I'm not actually alone. Everything that's causing you stress is absolutely real. And that stress, and there's lots of other things. And I was just talking to a medical doctor who, is working on a book. And, all of those things are real. And they're also all diminishable and manageable. And the first piece of that is community. A place where you can say your stuff and know that other people are in the same boat with you. Not because they're doing your job in the world, but because they're coming alongside of you doing their job in the world, and both of you want to make the world a better place. I'm talking about surrounding yourself with other game-changing world leaders like yourself and seeing that though you have the whole weight of the world on your shoulders, there's another person that has the whole weight of the world on their shoulders as well. And then all of a sudden, the burden is halved because there's actually two of you holding the world. And then the two of you go out and you each meet another person each. And before you know it, you really realize that there are thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people all doing their own little piece, all being the best version of them while we call it today. And all of a sudden, you're just as strong as you've always been, and you're putting forth exactly the same amount of energy. But the drain and the exhaustion that you've been feeling for so long, it goes away. But that only happens in the sharing and in community. When we're vulnerable, it's not a weakness. It's the place that connection and that opportunity really comes out for us to be able to maximize who we are in the world. You actually take a step forward by being vulnerable and saying, hey, here's all the stuff, the good, the bad, the ugly. That's interesting. Is my feedback now? I'm still here. This is me. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, I apologize. I really want to see you use all that amazing strength that you've got and no longer have to carry the whole entire world on your own. To use that amazing concept called vulnerability to be valuable. To be vulnerable is to be valuable. To connect. Yeah, today we've been talking, this whole entire thing is all about connection. Remember our 3 C's, clarity, consistency, connection? Yesterday we were mostly all talking about consistency. Today we're really just talking about connection. In that connecting, and we don't connect to everybody. We don't need to go back to that abuser and connect to them again just because connection gives powerfulness. We connect with the people who are the same game-changing world leaders that we are. And we all carry the burden of the world, and we make the world a better place as we come together. And the cool part about it isn't a situation where 1 + 1 = 2. It's where 1 + 1 = infinity. We exponentially explode the capability of one another in that vulnerable space of sharing and doing and being who we are. By making the difference in this world that only you can make, and acknowledging and joining up with the people that are the ones that are also maximizing all that they are and doing the things that only they can do in the world on this wonderful day that we call today. Having trouble streaming to Facebook, there may be an issue on Facebook's end, and it's possible the stream was ended or deleted on Facebook. Okay, well, so I may have dropped off of Facebook, and I apologize for those of you that were listening on Facebook. I'll probably hopefully we're still on YouTube, and I'll probably just share the whole thing for you. You don't have to do this alone anymore. And I've even got a free gift for you. Get the Safe Start script and begin to step into that safe space where your voice belongs, where you can stay just as strong as you are and also be vulnerable and valuable. And you can get it by just simply going to visibilityamplifier.com. Join us in that Visibility Amplifier community. Get your Safe Start script. Be the you that is you. It's so cool. Tomorrow we're going to talk about your voice shapes your world. Even when nobody but you hears it, it's still making a massive difference in the world. And until we're together again tomorrow, I hope that you are happy, safe, warm, and loved, and that you have a great, great week.